All right. Well, wonderful. I want to welcome everyone to today's episode. Today, I'm super excited. We have guest Alexandria Martinez is joining us. Alexandria is a life coach, a transformation coach, and I'm really excited to have her on today. I'm sure she's going to bring some value to all of our listeners. So, welcome. Thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Clarissa.
Absolutely. So how did you get into the space of being a transformation coach? What is that? Do you want to share with our audience?
Yes, so I've always been into self-help and growth and evolution, spirituality, all of the things, nutrition. So I feel like transformational life coach is kind of embodying all of it. It really just helps us transform our lives in any way that we're looking to transform, whether it's mindset practices, building healthy habits, reframing the way we eat and how we look at food, getting some, exercise, mindfulness practices. Like it's just embodies all of it. Whatever transformation we're looking for, I've completely transformed my life. I'm like a completely new person, and it's been a long life journey. And so my goal is to be able to help others transform their lives and be in alignment with their highest and best self, uh, in a little bit faster time than I did it. So
Yeah, that's always the goal, I feel. And I think a lot of us get into the spaces that we're in because they really resonate with something, inside of us, or we've gone through a similar situation that has kind of forced us to learn. So yes, if we can help others, more quickly figure out the best path is definitely optimal. So I'm curious, do you work with men? Do you work with women? Do you both? What does that look
I'm open to both, but I feel like I resonate more with women because it's been a journey for me to become my empowered self, my authentic self. And I feel like women really need that guidance, that acceptance, that it's okay to take care of ourselves, to nourish our bodies, our minds, our spirits, and really just get into that empowered state. So I really am much more passionate about helping women, but I am not opposed to helping men. I have also worked with men on the journey.
Right. No, I think that's super similar, and kind of in alignment with what I do too. It's like we do need more help. We spend so much time giving of ourselves to our family, to our friends, and very often, we forget to, take care of us, fill that cup back up. And then everyone's running ragged and you're not really giving your best self to the people that you care the most
Exactly.
about. Yeah, yeah, totally agree with that one. So that is awesome. So similar demographic that you work with. And then inside of all of this journey that you've gone through, I love that you've been, you know, pursuing self-help. I think that's something that all of us should continue to work on. Like continuing to grow as a person is so very important. But you made another self-growth step this year, in choosing to eat vegan.
Yes.
Uh,
That was another big step for me. So, I've realized that the journey of life is constantly taking us exactly where we need to go, and we're all evolving at our own pace, and level of consciousness. So I've kind of just trusted my path to take me where it's needed, and veganism was the most recent one. I had felt the call for a while
okay.
to stop eating meat because of the animal suffering and ingesting meat. You're ingesting the trauma and the pain that the animals are enduring. And I'm very much into spirituality and the energy behind the things that we ingest, whether it be what we're
Mhm.
watching on TV, what we're listening to on the radio, the people that we hang around with. So I was like, why not apply this to what I'm putting in my body in an energetic sense? But at the time, I wasn't ready to make the jump when I was first getting that call. I was still going through a lot on my own transformation journey. I was still in a marriage that I wasn't living a very empowered life. I wasn't able to be my authentic self. So I was more in survival mode,
Yeah.
and thriving was really hard for me. So I think recently I was in the thriving state, or I was becoming more into that thriving state working on healing and stuff like that, but I had already gone through so much healing and I was ready to make that empowered choice to say, I do not want to contribute to animal suffering and I don't want to bring that energy into my body anymore. And once I said I was ready, but I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know any vegans, and I haven't really felt supported on my journey up to now. I've kind of been going on my own because I've been breaking addictions and habits, and a lot of my family is still stuck in those ways. So
Right.
it was, I felt kind of like I didn't know exactly how to do it, which way to go. So I started with purple carrot.
Mm,
Um, it was also that documentary, You Are What You Eat, the last one that I
mm,
saw that really pushed me. And then I signed up for Purple Carrot and I'm like, let me just see what kind of meals I can get that are vegan because I'm not sure how to create a balanced vegan meal. And then I no longer had to cook for other people and worry about what they wanted. So I could just experiment with my own, plate and do
yeah.
what I needed to do for myself. And so I started that way. And then soon after that, within a couple of weeks, I met John, my partner, and he's the bodybuilding vegan. And so originally, when we met on Facebook dating, it was very much like I wasn't looking at him as somebody I was ready to date. It was more like, hey, you're vegan and you're all about this lifestyle, and I really want to learn from you.
Mm,
So I just felt like a whole new world opened up for me. I met him. I started to meet a lot of people that he knew. I started to I was able to face a lot of the limiting beliefs that were keeping me stuck into why I could not go vegan. So,
mm,
seeing all these people that are healthy and they're thriving and they're not lacking any nutrition and there's nothing wrong with, being vegan. Because there was a podcast I used to listen to. It's called the Ultimate Health Podcast.
mm,
And the woman on there, she's a nutritionist and she's all about eating healthy and nourishing the body. And so she was vegan for a while. And then she said she had all these issues and thyroid issues. And so she went back to eating meat. So I think that kind of scarred me for a little bit because I kind of put her on
mhm.
a pedestal and I looked up to her a lot. And so it took me a while to be able to go through all those beliefs and realize like that was her journey. And just because that happened to her doesn't mean it's true for everybody. So it just really helped opening up to a whole new world of vegans and seeing all these athletes and people thriving and just being able to have resources to help me along the journey.
Right. No, I think that's so important. And it's interesting that, someone that you kind of idolized and put like on a pedestal as an authority in the nutrition space didn't understand nutrition enough to not develop health problems. That's crazy. But
Yeah.
I can see like how people really struggle with. I see it all the time, honestly. Like we get women and I don't know what to eat. It's not that hard. It's just, more mindful choices, I believe. And that's something that's in alignment with what you practice inside of the transformation coaching is you do a lot of mindfulness work, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I
It's
thought
all
so.
about being mindful, being present,
Yeah.
and really just paying attention to where we are, what we're doing, what we're putting in our body, what we're surrounding ourselves with, all of that matters.
Oh, yes, 100%. The mindfulness practice is just, it's phenomenal. And I think that we can do so much with that to help control cortisol and even balance hormones, because if we can control cortisol, that's going to automatically work to level out your hormones a little bit, and it can all be done without a single supplement or really even spending any money, because mindfulness takes $0 to implement.
And I think that's where my journey started.
Yeah,
So I wanted to bring that up because I know we talked briefly about the mindfulness,
yeah.
and I remember feeling completely lost one day, and I always felt this calling of there's more, there's
Mhm.
something missing, and so I was always searching. And one of the places that I search is the library. I was at the public library, and I was just kind of walking up and down the aisles, like I know I need something, but I don't know what it is. And the book that spoke to me was 10 Mindful Minutes with Goldie
Oh,
Hawn.
interesting.
And I grabbed that book and I took it home and I started with that. And it was something that really pulled me out of that autopilot, that
Mhm.
robotic lifestyle of just go, 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 get these things done, and the check, the to-do list, take care of everybody's needs. I used to say I felt like the genie, like from Aladdin, like poof, what do you need? Poof, what do you need? Because I was
Right.
there just worried about everybody else's needs. So that really started to help me pull myself out of that space and become more mindful. And it was only 10 minutes a day that I would start the practice. And I started to notice like really big changes within myself.
Yeah, yeah, you do when you put off, because really cortisol is created by worrying either about something that is past or something that hasn't happened. So it keeps us from living in the present, and mindfulness is completely focused in the present. So thereby we don't have no past cortisol, no present cortisol. We're just right now. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have stress in the right now, because that entirely happens, but that's, I think, a whole different conversation. Um, but that's amazing that I think it was just so fortuitous that you embarked on this journey, to be more mindful of what you're putting in your body. You decided to go vegan. You didn't know what to do, and then you just found John. That's just like so fortuitous.
It really was like the universe said, "Hey, you said
Yeah.
you wanted to do this, so here is the opportunity, the person that can help you, and there's no excuses this time. Not only is he going to help
Right.
you and open you up to a whole new world, but he's also going to support me along the journey," which was really important for me because I didn't feel supported in a lot of my transformations. A lot of it was moving through resistance and just pulling myself through the mud is what it felt like a lot of times in my life.
Oh.
So it was like, for once, I had the support that I needed. And he, honestly, he never told me, like, eat this, 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 and that. He was just like, do you have any questions? Do you need any help? I can give you some guidance, but I want you to go out there and explore
Mhm.
and kind of figure it out because that's how you're going to learn. Um,
Absolutely.
so it was like a very, I got you if you need me, but
Mhm.
I want you to learn because, this is your journey.
Right. Right. So did you utilize a meal plan, or were you just like tracking, being careful of what you were eating to meet nutritional goals?
I did it all at once. So
Okay.
before being vegan, I wasn't tracking macros.
Uh-huh.
So I've decided to do it all at once. I started tracking macros. I became vegan, started the fitness journey. It was like bam, bam, bam. So it was a lot of changing in a small amount of time. So at first I did it on my own, and then I hired him to
Okay.
coach me to help me because I was doing pretty good on my own, and I
Mhm.
need that space to explore because I don't like to
Mhm.
feel restricted or like I
Oh, yeah.
can't try different things or try different foods. Like the bodybuilding part, the way that bodybuilders eat, usually they eat the same meals every day. And
Mhm.
I would see what he would eat, and I'm like, I can't eat like that. Like I'd go crazy because I need variation in my life.
Right.
So at first, I explored and I tried different things. And then when I was ready to take it seriously, I was like, all right, I'm ready to do the macros and I need your help. And so then he did help me on the journey.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of women can relate to that. They need the variety. Most people don't. I mean, we'll do meal prep, but it's changing every week, so it's not the same
Exactly.
things. And because it can get really redundant. But there's also, even inside of eating vegan, if we're not getting enough variety in those repetitive meals, we're still going to have problems. So variety
Yeah.
is absolutely great.
And us women, we have so many different hormones and
Oh, geez.
fluctuations throughout the month. So we
Yeah.
do need to support ourselves differently. And I think it's another practice to really hone in on our bodies and what our body's needs are and not always just give it the same thing every day.
Right. Yeah. No, that leads to a lot of conversations about cravings and waking up in the middle of the night and why do I want this food? Why do I keep binging? And it's just your body's not getting what it needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so cool. Well, it sounds like you've had a phenomenal journey, into the plant-based lifestyle. What have you noticed as far as like any kind of changes or improvements in your body since going vegan?
So I would say I was mostly healthy before because I was
Mhm.
already pretty health conscious of what I was eating. But I have noticed that I have more energy. My hair is stronger. I used to think
Mhm.
that it was going to suffer from this, but no, it's actually stronger. Um, I have noticed that it's been easier to lose weight. It's hard to say it was just from being vegan because I
Hmm.
started tracking macros at the same time, but I have broken the plateau that I was stuck at for a while. So I've lost more weight, the energy, more clarity, more clear mind,
Hmm.
and just like I never have any odor or anything. Like I just feel clean from the inside out.
Hmm.
My skin's clear. I don't know. It's just it, I feel great, honestly. My hormones are balanced. Like I do make sure that I'm big on the seeds. Like I do a
Okay.
lot of flax seeds, chia seeds. I do pumpkin seeds, and
Hmm.
I kind of alternate them. I know that those are really important. We need our healthy fats to
Hmm.
help with our hormones and our cycle and all of that. But yeah, I haven't noticed too much, but I've also noticed subtle changes.
Right.
And at first, it was a lot of trial and error of what do I digest well. I've
Mhm.
noticed like dehydrated soy products do not process as well in my body.
Okay.
So like TVP,
Yeah.
high protein, and I would love to eat it more, but for some reason I wasn't digesting it very well. So I've just learned to really hone in on what do I digest well and what don't I
Mhm.
digest well, and play around with the foods until I found the right foods for me. Obviously, you automatically start getting way more fiber in your
Oh
diet.
yeah.
You don't even have to worry about how much fiber do I get. You're just getting fiber
Right.
all day. So also that was something my body had to get used to,
Hmm.
because I wasn't getting that much fiber before. But now
Hmm.
I'm used to all this fiber. I'm regular. I never have constipation or any issues like that that I used to suffer from. Don't get headaches. Don't have pain in my body. I know I've have less inflammation.
Hmm.
So it's been great, honestly.
Yeah. No, that sounds like it's been amazing. And a lot of things that people normally experience, like I think the hair and the skin is a big one. And that honestly is just reflecting, like you said, the inside, like it's more clean, everything is functioning better. You're getting, I mean, if you're eating mostly plant-based, you're automatically getting way more but vitamins and phytonutrients in. So yes, it's going to reflect in your hair and your skin.
Yeah, lots of antioxidants, lots of
Yeah,
fiber,
so
all of
many.
that.
Yeah, that's interesting. You brought up fiber. That's another big one. I see it mostly like in Facebook groups, so where people are having, they switch over to eating plant-based and they're having like these extreme digestive issues. And often it's because, like you said, you're not getting enough fiber. So you go from eating like 5 grams of fiber a day to eating 55. Did you kind of ease into eating the higher amounts of fiber? Was it all at once? Do you remember?
It was more all at once.
Okay.
So I did, for example, I love oatmeal.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I realized that eating oatmeal every single day was making my digestion a little more sluggish, more
Okay.
bulky.
Hmm.
So he introduced me to cream of rice, and I'm like, cream of rice? Like, I've never had that. And I was like always into, wild rice, brown rice, quinoa.
Hmm.
I wanted all the healthy foods, the
Right.
health foods, superfoods. And I was like, why would I just have white rice? Like, I didn't really, I had something against it, I guess. So once I realized that I was so in tune with my body and I started to notice oatmeal like 3 days in a row, I started to get sluggish in my bowels and feel more bloated. So
Hmm.
then I'd switch to cream of rice and then I'd feel great.
Okay.
So I would alternate, okay, let me have
Hmm.
some cream of rice for a few days, then I'll have oatmeal. Have some salads. I've noticed if I eat some raw foods with water content in them,
Hmm.
it really helps keep things better than just eating dried, cooked foods all the time. So, like, I've learned to just balance. So, some of it
Okay.
is cooked and dry, but some of it has water content in it, and that helps keep things moving better.
Hmm.
And yeah, like I said, if I'm eating oatmeal and other things, I don't need brown rice. I don't
Right.
need, I can just go ahead and have white rice because I'm already getting so much nutrition from my diet naturally. Like I don't need to go
Mhm.
for the superfoods anymore that I used to always think I needed.
Right. Right. No, no, you totally can. Sometimes, with tracking and people wanting to eat 100% plant-based with zero processed foods, that fiber gets so high
Hmm.
that if you're not used to that amount, it can definitely cause some digestive issues. But it sounds like you've got, your body figured out and you're really listening to it and providing like that balance that it needs so that everything is functioning properly.
Yes, and that's the most important thing on this journey. I feel
Yes.
that all of us just really need to pay attention to our body's needs because we're all different. And
Oh,
not to say that you're not going to be able to eat way more fiber in the future, but ease your way into it and just listen. Like, don't say, well, oatmeal is healthier than cream of rice. I'm only going to eat oatmeal. And then your body's kind of letting you know, hey, I've had too much fiber. Let's slow it down a
mhm,
little bit. And you just keep putting it in there. So I'm a big proponent of listening to your body. I started with being a yoga teacher, and that's all about, self-awareness and tuning into
mhm,
your body. So I always keep that practice. It also talks about balance. So
mhm,
those are some of the main, ideas that I stick with, that even if I go to a little bit of an extreme with strength training and health foods and this and that, like I remember the yoga side of myself that says, "Hey, let's come back to balance." And listen to our bodies. And that's kind of how I move through life.
right. No, that's so important. Listening to your body is so, so important. And then, like you said, too, that balance aspect, which again just really goes back to listening to your body, because if we would have done that in the first place, then we wouldn't be busy people pleasing and neglecting our own needs.
Exactly. It's all tied in. It's all tied in.
Right. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You teach yoga?
I do. I teach yoga.
Okay, that's awesome. Um, I haven't taught for a long time, but it's a practice that I still try to make sure that I get to at least a couple times a week, because I think it really is important, and it gives you that space where you're again just focusing on yourself. But I think for a lot of women, especially like in this age group, you are really focusing on your breath and like pushing all the other things out, which is really, really great tool for reducing cortisol.
Yes, and I think I first gravitated to yoga because I did have a overstimulated nervous system. My
Mhm.
hormones were out of whack. I wasn't in a very safe space. So being on the mat was my time for me to really regulate myself, to listen to my inner voice, to listen to my body. So like it was like, wow, I just love yoga. Like I just love to spend
Mhm.
that hour in the mat, and it transformed my life in so many ways that I wanted to give that gift back to the world, because I feel like everybody needs some kind of a yoga practice, even if it's 5 minutes. Just five
Right.
minutes on your mat, listening to your breath, honing in on your inner voice and tuning into your body. Like it doesn't have to be handstands and anything complicated. Just spending time with yourself and increasing that self-awareness. So yes, I still love to teach yoga. I don't do it as often.
Mhm.
When I was married, I had a yoga studio, and so I would
Mhm.
teach a few times a week, but I still teach every once in a while to like corporate
Mm.
people. I did come from the corporate world, and I had a lot of pain in my body, a lot of issues
Oh
from
yeah.
sitting at the desk all day. And so like from stretching and getting the kinks out to regulating your nervous system to becoming more self-aware, like there's so many benefits to yoga.
Right.
And like right now, I became the teacher for so long, I stopped practicing my own practice, and
Mhm.
I've gotten back into it, and I'm going to
Oh,
hot
cool.
yoga.
Oh, that's what I do. I love it.
I know, I love it too. It's so
Yes.
amazing. It's like your
Yeah.
muscles, everything just really relaxes, and you still have that activation and that intensity, but then you
Mhm.
balance it out when you deactivate and you have your savasana and your child's pose.
Yes.
And so, and you're detoxing, and it just feels great.
Right. No, it certainly does. When I was traveling and taking care of my dad, he lived in like this really small town, like up in the northwest corner of Idaho, like in the middle of nowhere. And I needed yoga like so bad. So I Googled and I found this hot yoga studio next to the grocery store. But I walked in and you could smell the hot room. And I was just like, oh, and I could let so much just go simply by stepping into the studio. So yeah, that is
Yeah.
my favorite by far.
I do love the studio aspect. I know, like when I became a yoga teacher, it was in 2020 when COVID happened.
Okay.
I was doing my training and then COVID hit. And
Yes.
so we went from going into a studio to being online, and it was
Yeah.
a very scary time for all of us, and it was uncertain. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm getting a certification, and now studios are closing, and
Mhm.
is yoga even going to survive? And I really love the studio feel because you're in a community, and it's so much
Mhm.
more powerful when you're in a community sharing space with other people and you're sharing the energy, and it just feels amplified.
Right.
So I do love that. And that's why recently I got back into it and I signed up to a studio and I'm doing hot yoga, and I enjoy it. And like John
Hmm.
and I are planning to travel in March, and I was already like Googling where we're going. Is there hot yoga studios? Because I want to keep this practice. I don't want to lose this practice of mine.
Right. Yes. No, that's so important. And the studio it's just, it's like you said, it's a community, it's an environment. But I also think that going into the studio, it's like going to the gym. It allows you to step out of your home environment because yes, you can absolutely practice yoga at home, like with just a mat, but it allows you to get out of your environment, like where maybe we're kind of stuck, and forces us to go somewhere else where we can really, put away anything that's at home and leave it outside the door, and it doesn't ever need to go on the mat when you have that time just for us.
Exactly, I agree.
Yeah, awesome. That's cool. I didn't know you liked hot yoga. I love that. That is like seriously my favorite. There was something else I wanted to ask you, but it's gone out of my head. So you are teaching somewhat now,
I
the yoga?
am teaching somewhat.
Okay.
It's sparing. It's
Okay.
not as often, but I still do it just because I love it. I really do love to teach, so I still practice it with others.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's a pop-up class. Sometimes
Okay.
I collaborate with a friend who will do like sound bowls or a meditation. Sometimes I play sound bowls as well, and I offer meditation. So I have a lot of different tools in my toolbox. And I still try to use the tool of yoga whenever I can.
Right. I think it's such a great tool for so many reasons. Like you said, the stress management, the self-awareness, all of that. And I did remember what I was going to ask you. So with the background in yoga, then you kind of gravitated over towards lifting weights.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so every phase of my life, I feel like I got where I needed to go with what I needed at that time. Yoga was the space to regulate the nervous system, find safety, peace,
Yeah.
because I was in chaos all the time. So it was very important for me at that time to feel relaxed and breathe and start honing in on my inner voice because I felt so confused all the time and I was trying to take care of everybody else. So once I did yoga teacher training, within a year, I quit my corporate job. I had been there for 17 years doing
Oh, wow.
accounting. Um, and I was married for 16 years. I was with my ex for 20 years total. And so like yoga not only helped me with my nervous system, the pain in my body, but then it started to really connect me to my inner voice. And I started to
Mm-hmm.
realize I was living a life that I was not happy with, and I was not being my authentic self or my empowered self. So within a couple years of getting my yoga teacher training, I left my ex, and that took me into strength training. That was like, okay, now we need to get empowered and we need to get strong. So we got the inner voice, we got the self-awareness, we were ready to step into the next chapter, which is now we got to get strong because we're going through a very difficult phase. So I just went into the gym and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I need to be here right now. This is what my soul's calling me to do. So I showed up, signed up, and I just started playing around with weights and different exercises. I was doing HIIT training, I was doing Zumba, I was doing everything. It felt good to move my body and get the energy through. It felt good to get the
Mm-hmm.
anger out. It felt good to meet people. It felt good to start building strength in my body. But then, obviously I was all over the place and I had no structured system or I wasn't counting the macros so I was doing that for like a year and then I met John soon after and then I became vegan and then I started to really get more into structured strength training and then I started to really see progress and get stronger
Mm-hmm.
and then I just fell in love with it because it was building my confidence. I was feeling empowered. I was seeing my body transform and I hit 40. So then I'm like I'm 40 but I'm feeling stronger than I ever have. And like I just realized this whole time I thought it was yoga, 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 which I love, and I'm not going to ever give it up. But man, I need some strength training in my life too. So there we go with the balance again.
Right, right. No, that's amazing. Everything you said is like so true. That's how I found the gym as well. I had to leave and I had to get strong and I had to find some confidence because I had zero. But it doesn't just build your body, it builds your mind, it builds your mental capabilities. It does definitely increase your self-confidence. And I think it's really awesome because you have the background in yoga, so you're a little more likely to have a lot of self awareness when you're in the gym as well, which is cool. but then you said you really needed the structure, which is true. And I think everyone, ends up in that place when they step into the gym. It's like, oh, this is cool, or oh, I'm overwhelmed, or oh, I feel comfortable doing group classes, but there's still no
Yeah, structured strength training is the way to go. Have
structure.
a training plan, stick to it, and watch yourself progress over time and be patient with it.
Right. Yes, it's so true. And it's like, you don't need a new exercise every single week. Your body actually does better when you give it the same boring exercises for several months and
I
just get
know.
really good at those.
I know I had to learn that the hard way too. It's like, all
Yeah.
right, we need to stop experimenting and exploring and let's just stick to a plan and let's see the progress here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's one of the things that most people struggle with a lot is they think that, they're missing a secret exercise or they have to have something fresh. I know I've been in this space so long. Muscle confusion was a thing for several years. None of that is true. You just need consistency.
Yes. And to push yourself,
Yes. Oh my
to
gosh.
that point of being a little uncomfortable and push a little harder. And, like I think what John really helped me with was pushing to failure. Like I
Hmm.
didn't know what failure was. Like I didn't want to feel failure. I didn't want to
Right.
go to the extreme. I wanted to hit 15 reps and I was done. And
Yeah.
I did it 3 times and I'm like, I'm proud of myself. I did 15 reps 3 times. And it's like, no, you had more and you can
Right.
do more. And I'm like, really? You think? And then I started to do more. And then I'm like, wow, I did that. And then I started to really start to build my confidence, not just,
And more. Yeah.
yeah, not just physically, but now mentally. Now I was building strength from within, and that's when
Hmm.
things really transformed.
Yes. Yeah. It's so true. It's I think, such a wonderful journey. And you've got like all the aspects covered. I love it.
Yep, it's been a long journey, but I've definitely gone through many different paths to get here.
I think most of us have had a long journey.
And we all get here in different ways.
Differently.
Some
Yeah.
people might start with strength training and then end up with yoga, but either
Right.
way, they're all important. And that's why I just believe that we're all on our own journey and like
Hmm.
follow what speaks to you and trust the process because you're going to get there as long as you keep following the little synchronicities and the nudges and listening to your inner guidance and you're going to get wherever you need to go.
Yes, absolutely. That's so true. Listen to that inner voice because it really has something to say if we will just slow down and listen to
Yes, and there's a difference between the inner voice and the critic voice,
it.
the
Yes.
critical voice.
Oh, yes.
It took
Thank
me
you
a
for
long
differentiating.
time to realize that. I'm like, wait, I don't want to listen to that voice. That voice is mean and it's always,
Exactly.
critiquing me and being judgy and I don't like her. But once I realized that that's different than my real soft-spoken inner voice, then I was like, okay, I can see why I was not listening to any voice inside of me because I was scared of listening to the mean one.
Hmm. No, that's so true. And I think women especially have a super mean voice inside.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Um, well, your journey has been amazing. I certainly think that, people out there can definitely relate to a lot of the path that you've been on. I know I certainly do. Was there anything else you wanted to share with our audience while we're taking up your time this afternoon?
No, just, honor your journey and do what speaks to you and listen to your body. And just take the time to be mindful, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes a day,
Yeah.
to just, you know, create that space between the world and yourself so that you can really hone in on whatever your needs are. It's okay to be a little selfish. It's okay to take care of yourself. Fill your cup, and you're gonna show up even better in the lives of others that way.
Right. No, that's so true. It's true every single time with every single person I've ever worked with. All right. If someone wanted to continue to follow your journey or if they had inquiries, on life coaching or help with mindfulness, where could they find you, Alex?
So the best way is through Instagram. My handle's a little long. It's Conscious Living with Allie. I feel like conscious is pretty much what I stand for. It's just living more consciously, and I want to help others do that as well. And then my email is the same, consciouslivingwithallie@gmail.com.
Okay. Well, that's fairly simple and it's even across the board. I love it.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I truly appreciate it. I think this was a super valuable conversation. I definitely loved getting to know a little bit more about you. So thank you for your time today.
No, thank you so much, Clarissa. I'm so glad you asked me to join, and I can resonate a lot with you on your journey. I see all your posts, and I'm like, I can feel the resonance between us. And I'm always like, I love everything you post. And that's
Oh,
why, I love connecting with other like-minded, empowered women. So thank you for having
yes,
me on.
definitely. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
All right.